The Los Angeles Chargers entered the game against the Titans hoping that they could continue to turn things around off of the big win against the Vikings. And while they did beat the Titans 27-20, a devastating injury to Joe Alt happened around the middle of the game, and the impacts were immediate as Herbert for the rest of the game was running for his life. They only beat the Titans 27-20, and without Alt, it's just hard to see this team being very effective going forward throughout the end of the season. Hello, Charger fans and fans of the NFL. Welcome to the Lumia Sports Podcast page on YouTube. Please check us out. Look at some of our other videos. We do lives as well and playlists, and this is what I'm so happy about. If you look at our playlist, we do every single team every week, and let's see actually what we got for the Chargers. Huge list of games. Let's see what our recent opinions is. Said they will smoke the Titans, lock it in. I actually lost that lock of the week because they were supposed to win by 8 points. Tough. Saying that surrounding cast stepped up against the Vikings, and saying that the Chargers are not Super Bowl bound. So let's see. Check out some of these other videos, and we shall see what happens if I'm right or wrong on those going forward. But now, back to the vid. So for the Chargers, when you look at it right now in the conference, they come in at 6th, just behind the Bills, 6-2, 6-3, good record for them. Again, a good win against the Titans. We'll talk about everything other than that, but right now in the conference, in a solid spot. You do have that win over the Chiefs. The Chiefs, obviously, at the 8th seed, looming back there, but you did beat them. So if you beat them again, you would own the tiebreaker over them. And I think the big thing for the Chargers right now that they're looking for, despite the fact that they won on Thursday Night Football, the Broncos definitely look really vulnerable in that division spot. And you want to see if they could possibly, now as we look at the divisions, possibly come over there and get that seed and get a home playoff game. The Broncos, again, 8-2, but the Chargers beat them. The Chargers are actually 3-0 in the division, a leg up on the Broncos and Chiefs. So I think ideally for the Chargers, you would want the Broncos and Chiefs to split, giving you really a clear kind of edge in that division race. And then if you beat one of those two teams again, you would kind of have a better divisional record than them. And so even if you lose, let's say, so to give you an example, sorry, let's say they go out and they beat the Broncos, but they lose to the Chiefs. But if the Chiefs lose to the Broncos, the Chiefs would have 2 division losses to the Chargers 1, and the Chargers would still have that tiebreaker in the division. Again, the division is huge because that means that if you win the division, you get a home playoff game, which is huge, obviously, for them, specifically a team in the Chargers that struggles in the postseason. And let's just see how we got here. I mean, they start off hot, beating the Chiefs in Brazil in an explosive game. Herbert announced that he had arrived. The Raiders, that game was an easy win. They outlasted the Broncos, and actually another clutch play, Herbert getting hit. I remember that one, him throwing that touchdown. However, losing to Jackson Dart in his first ever game, not great. That Washington loss was really, really bad, especially considering that Washington's defense, we've seen them get pieced up now time and time again after that. And you want to say, well, maybe that's because they didn't have their offensive line. Well, they don't have it now. Just barely beat the Dolphins. They lost to the Colts by 2 touchdowns, but they did seem to pick it up against the Vikings last week, 37-10. That was great. But right now, right now with what they have, interesting situation. You did beat the Titans. That game, obviously, one of your best players leaves during the game. He's out, and now you get the Steelers next. That is a tough one. Sunday Night Football. Steelers without Alt and that offensive line in tatters. That might be tougher than if you have Alt and you have some blocking. You can kind of pick on that secondary, but that's an interesting game now as well. Then you get the Jags and the Raiders. I mean, I want to say the Jags are an easy win, but again, with no Alt, they just get screamed at. These could be some tough games down the stretch. You get the Eagles, the Chiefs down there, Cowboys and Texans you should beat, and the Broncos that's going to be a tough one. Sorry, I'm not saying they should beat the Broncos. That's going to be a tough one as well. So I'm interested to see what happens with the Chargers for sure going forward. In our new mini segment, Comment of the Week, we go over our best comment of the week and shout it out to you guys. Our comment of the week this week from the Chargers faithful was nothing. Charger fans, get in those comments, shout us out, and we will shout out the best comment on the show. Now, this is a tough one. This is really unfortunate because they're clearly a different team without Joe Alt, and he was just announced to get season-ending knee surgery. And it's tough because you're missing Rashawn Slater at the beginning of the year. He left in training camp. So now you are without your 2 all-pro tackles. Rough situation. And his impact was felt immediately from the Chargers. The whole game, Justin Herbert was getting screamed at. This Titans defensive line, not great. And there was no Jeffrey Simmons. Now, Jeffrey Simmons is a game wrecker, D tackle for them, but he wasn't playing. And really, it was Draymond Jones who had a sack and a half. And he, later, I think, I believe on Monday or Tuesday, got traded for a 5th-round pick to the Ravens. So that guy got sent off, but he still went crazy. But again, 6 picks in this game. The defensive line was screaming, and toward the end of the game, you could see they just couldn't block or protect, and that's just going to be a problem. I don't know how they're going to function going forward with that. Also, I do have to point this out. Herbert at the beginning of the game just threw a pick 6 that was unbelievably bad. Curl route right in front of his face. I don't know what he's looking at, but he throws an interception. He's had way too many turnovers this year up to this point, and that's just not going to, specifically now with the injuries being what they are, that is not going to be sustainable. I'm actually going to look up most interceptions in the league. I think he's up there in most interceptions in the league this year. Last time I checked, he had 7, and I just want to get the exact numbers. But yeah, for Herbert, not really where you want to be. He has 8 so far this year. He is tied with Jake Browning. God, Jake Browning's only played 4 games. Good Lord. Bo Nix, Joe Flacco for 3rd in the league, just behind Tua. Now, Tua and Geno have 11 and 12. They're doing generational numbers, but 8 interceptions, that's way too many, and Herbert, he's got to rein that in at some point. Last year, he only had, I believe, 3 all year. They've trusted him more throwing the ball. He's making a lot of mistakes, and that can't happen for them to get to the playoffs where they want to go. Now, all that being said, Herbert at times was great in this game, and he ended up getting a win, playing very good football. He threw a crazy touchdown to Quentin Johnston where the ball was just over it was like a corner route in the end zone, so it was going back of the end zone. The corner goes up, couldn't deflect it, and he just lobbed. He didn't even lob it. He just threw a strike, but over their hand. Johnson caught it like this in the back of the end zone. It was incredible stuff, and that gave him a lead 17-13. Also late in the game, trusting Quentin Johnson, back shoulder route on 3rd and 4. That was huge. I remember that play. And then Herbert, QB sneak, tush push. They're using him a lot more running the ball. I think he led their team in rushing this game. Let me double check that. I believe he had 59 rushing yards and led the team in rushing. And then in the end zone, sliding in. I thought that was hilarious for him to slide in the end zone. I wonder, if I were a Titans player, I definitely would have been a little insulted by that. Like, all right, dude. But I mean, their defenses are supposed to be offended when offenses score touchdowns, so there it is. But I truly believe, I mean, if Herbert were turning down the turnovers, I like the way that he's playing, running the football. But now without Joe Alt, I mean, that just ruins the entire season and the outlook, because they've had trouble protecting. They had trouble protecting before when Joe Alt went out, came back in. And this is what you worry about when you play someone who gets hurt earlier in the season. I don't want to say they rushed him, because it took him a little bit to get back in. But now he's done for the rest of the year. There was also a freak hit. Yeah, Herbert had 57 rushing yards as well to lead the team. Helped them get 131 as a unit. That's impressive stuff. But yeah, I just think that it's very unfortunate what happened to Alt in this game. And it sucks because defensively you saw some things. Owe, he got 2 sacks in there. The new Ravens defensive end, and I think the defense has started to pick. Now this game it's tough because Cam Ward just isn't accurate and he just isn't good right now. But yeah, 4 sacks, 5 hits. That Titans offensive line has been pretty bad too. But improvements are improvements on that defensive end. You would like to see that. We'll just see if Herbert could do anything to keep this unit together. And I know I'm a you know what I mean. I think Herbert's a little overrated at times. I think he's top 10. People call him top 5. I think that's a little crazy. You got to win a playoff game to do that. And this is going to be tough because they don't have an offensive line yet. He's got the if man moniker, and it just is what it is at this point. And so now without your offensive lineman, can you go? You still have weapons galore. Will you get the blocking? Probably not. But can you go out there, adjust to the style, throw the ball quicker, and make plays to get this team to make a run down the stretch? I want to be complete. It's a tough ask, but and I don't fully think Herbert's gonna do it because of how banged up that offensive line is, and who I personally think he is as a quarterback. But we shall see. Big test in that against the Steelers, who are 3rd in the league in sacks, coming in with 3 a game. So let's see if Justin Herbert can somehow battle through that, win that game, and kind of right the ship a little bit of a team that has to feel awful that one of their stars is out for the rest of the season. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please watch some of the other videos on the site. I've created a playlist with each and every football team, and every week we will be going over those games. I'm really loving this, enjoying it, and hoping you guys are as well. Of course, like, subscribe, and if anyone wants to sponsor, we're looking for Lumia Sports Productions is looking for sponsors. Shout us out. We will shout you out during the video. Thank you guys again for watching. Have a great day. Enjoy.